As a guy who's been known to place a sports wager here or there,
A
what are your
lot.
thoughts on the gambling stuff? High limits announced it. USAC has already been doing it. We're assuming it's coming from World Racing Group for the Outlaws and their series. But where do you stand on all of that stuff?
Um, it's it's a wait and see for me. I love gambling. I'm not gonna. I wager every Sunday and Thursdays and some Saturdays.
Some Saturdays,
So
sometimes Mondays.
yeah, Mondays too. Now I don't have a problem. I know it sounds it's not where all the sprint
You're gonna
cars.
lose your house, Jeremy.
Well, I'm in an apartment, so
Well, there you go.
maybe that's why I'm in an apartment. No, I'm very shrewd with my gambling, but you know, I think it's good, but I question because here's what it's through all sports data. And it's not like it's on DraftKings or if it's on FanDuel or BetMGM, which I use. And here's the problem: the states. How many states is it in? So, and I'm doing a lot of research on this behind the scenes. There's things like draft. You do the dirt draft. Okay, you pick a team and whatever. Successful sports gambling is me against you, the favorites minus 110, the underdogs plus 110, and it's one against one. Prop bets. Uh, if you're doing where you're doing these lineups, it's not as enticing to regular people. Basically, a fantasy bet. And I don't know if that's enough to make a dent. Look, they're trying it. They're in the beginning stages of it. I just don't know if it can get in enough states to where it's going to matter. I couldn't make a bet in Pennsylvania on USAC. And I can bet on every other sport of the major sports on BetMGM in the state of Pennsylvania. I looked up the Underdog Sports app, which I'm not sure if that's what USAC's on. I got to check, but I downloaded it. The sports book's only live in North Carolina.
Mm.
The fantasy part of it's alive in like 40 states. So that's the rub on it. For it to really make a dent, you're going to have to get with one of the majors. And to do that, you have to prove yourself at the lower level and that there's an interest. And my question again is niche sport. Can it do that? Not saying it can't, not saying it can't be huge. But here's the other caveat to it. The NFL, I know, has security people stationed all over the league to monitor this and all over the place. Sprint car racing can't get tech right. How are we going to police this? So I know there's going to be a lot of, I've talked to Brad Sweet. I have an interview on my tape recorder, but I need more information before I write about it. I'm not going to write about it before I talk to people in the gambling houses. And my concern is if it gets in enough states, then it becomes the policing of it. I know there's going to be language in the contracts for these drivers, but you know what? There's language in the NFL contracts for players, and guess what? They violated. Ask Calvin Ridley. So there you go. It's just I have some concerns. I think it's great. Nobody wants to place a bet on it more than me. So, but I just don't know if it can get to the point to make a dent.
The interesting thing, and I talked about this on my show, but Kevin Miller at USAC admitted they're not making money off of gambling and pointed towards it being a fan engagement thing. And if that same thing is going to be true of High Limit and the World of Outlaws, is it enough to like break even on this thing or maybe lose a little bit of money for that engagement part? Can they monetize that engagement?
Well, that's always the $1 million question. And look, you and I went round and round about streaming a few times on personal calls, and I hear this word exposure. Well, I can't pay my rent with exposure. I can't pay my bills with enhancement. Okay, it's got to be dollars and cents. To me, whether we like it or don't like it, it comes down to dollars and cents. It's a business. And while you want to look, I do things for sprintcarunlimited.com just to get the word out, which I guess you could say is enhancement. Can it be measured? Sometimes. I just hate the words exposure and enhancement and things like that because That's what we say when we don't have a firm number and we're grasping at straws. It's got to make it. It's got to be dollars and cents. You've got to be able to track it. It was a concern. I saw your show on that, and that was a big concern to me. Now, all fairness, is USAC the World of Outlaws or High Limit? No. It's very central Midwest stuff in Indiana. But still, it is a microcosm of everything, and I have some concerns about that. So yes, it's I don't know. I don't know if it can or can't.